Yo, Tripolar Bear. Today, we're talking about how I was farming 80% Delirium maps on Corrupting Fever Champion at day 3 of the league. I probably could have done it on day 2, but I kind of just, needed to build up some currency, and I tried not to do logbooks, okay, but I did logbooks anyways. Okay, anyways, the day 3 CF setup, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what my actual mapping setup was, where I'm farming the Scarabs down here is what you're seeing, and the Diviner Deli Orbs and whatnot. We'll talk about the charms that I use on Corrupting Fever, why Corrupting Fever was a pretty good build to be able to do this with, and what exactly it's going to take for you, CF Chads, to be able to do this eventually as well as like, charms that I used to replace some stuff and to kind of make the build a lot more powerful and much easier to play. As you see, I'm still on Poet's Pen. I haven't had to do the rare wand swap, even when doing 80% Delirium farming. Although that's something I am going to do eventually anyways. So first off, let's talk about the gearing for 80% Delirium. So obviously, one big part of it is going to be a 4th vow setup, right? 4th vow, making your armor apply to chaos damage taken from hits, combined with Divine Flesh, where half of elemental damage is taken as chaos, and you get a lot of max chaos res. You get 5 from this, and you get 4 from a Sappho's Frame. So you have 84 max chaos res. Half of elemental damage is taken as chaos, which is mitigated by your chaos res, and then by your armor. So you're almost just taking half elemental damage, almost, depending on how big the hit is. It's really good, and it makes it much more comfortable. And while you're clearing these maps with 4th vow, all you have to do is stutter step and right click. You'll see that when I'm doing the map. I'm just stutter stepping. You're never going to stand still, right? If you stand still, you're going to die because all the delirium effects are going to stack up. The monster's going to hit you. But I don't know. It's like a superpower, man. If you're moving just the tiniest bit, just don't be where you were is pretty much how you do delirium. Always stutter step. 4th vow is a really big part of that. Another big part of this and making it more comfortable is to have at least 2 peers. I have 3 now because of my glove implicit. We'll talk about how I went to rare gloves in a little bit. But you want 3 peers, and you want to do returning projectiles. You'll see that I constantly have kinetic blasts going everywhere. There's always projectiles returning to me. There's projectiles going out. I'm just stutter stepping in a circle. I press frost blink every once in a while, right? It's like an instant mobility. You might as well just like press it. It keeps you extra safe to like make you move a little bit more. But it's super easy to just fill the screen with projectiles with Corrupting Fever. And coming to the next thing, the Trans Exsanguinate. This is the Exsang of Transmission. This is really nice as well. Chaining to 23 enemies is really nice. So you're only firing tendrils at 1 target. The damage is exactly the same. You just wouldn't use this on Poison Exsang because the base fizz and the effectiveness of added damage is a lot lower. But the physical damage over time is exactly the same. So this is part of the reason of why I can use Poet Pen when I'm doing the 80% Delirium farm. When you're doing 80 Deli, you want to have like 1.5 million CF DPS. But with Poet's Pen, you're not going to have 1.5 million CF DPS. I had about 1.1 when I was doing it. And how you get that extra bit is another 4 to 600k from your Exsanguinate, which will be triggering all of the time. You can't really rely on Reap because it's just going to be like, a circle. But, a lot of every time I attack, I have 23 chains of Exsanguinate going out. That counts. That is really nice. And so that's how you can still do 80 Deli with a Poet Pen setup. Now, to be granted, I do have a level 4 in power and Replica Dragonflight. And we'll talk about Replica because people are getting baited into this, okay? You don't need this. We were farming 80 Deli before this was added to the game. We can farm it if it gets nerfed again. All Replica Dragonflight does, and it does, it's nice, right? But the big reason why you take this is because it opens up 3 points from not needing the Reservation Mastery. If you get, I believe, an 8% or higher roll. I think it's 7 or 8%. You might want to just check in POB. This just opens up 3 passive points. That's really nice. A +1 with dot multi is only a few % damage less than this. So let's say maybe your damage isn't so good. You're a little bit lower. You could just do 60% Delirium done, right? You just do 60 Deli, boot it up, log in. You know, you got like a level 3 in power. Maybe you don't have even like a +1 with dot multi amulet or something. You could just blast some 60 deli if you've got the currency. But honestly, you know, just keep doing log bugs, keep doing whatever strat you have, invest in your build, get a 4 in power. You see, I don't have a +2 corrupted 4th foul either. This is another upgrade that I'm going to be working towards. And where is it? I have 10 double corrupts here. I need to buy some more 4th vows, but we're getting ready for it. But yeah, right now I just have 50 reduced extra damage from crits, which combined with the armor mastery is really nice. 80% reduced extra damage from crits. That's really, really nice. But that's the damage. That's the replica dragonflight. Now let's talk about replacing hemophilia and why that was so nice. So because of the charms that were added into the game, we can now get bleed explosion on a charm. That's killer because it opens up our glove slot without needing 50 divine forbidden flesh jewels. Opening up your glove slot is really good. It gives you pierce. It gives you 3 suffixes, which you can use for resistances and stats. It gives you another life, which you know, I was broke when I made these. Maybe I should give more than 20 life on this slot. Okay, but it gives you then 2 implicits as well. It's crazy. So you get projectile pierce if your recovery, if you feel like it's not very good, or if you want to do your void stones rolling instead of projectiles pierce, rolling physical leech here is really, really nice. And it's so much cheaper than the Doriani belt. It allows you to keep a Stygian that you can use for phasing on kill and maybe a little bit of stat or res fixing depending on your other pieces. But yeah, you know, Fizz Leech or projectiles pierce. And then for your red, your Exarch implicit, you would do the second tier of the currency. You would do greater so that you have a chance of rolling the while unique enemy presence Fizz multi, because you really only care about it for single target. You could do it, and you know, it's fine if you land normal Fizz multi. It'll help you a little bit more while you're clearing. But another really nice one, which I think would be really fun to use, would be the rage on attack when doing the 80% delirium maps, just to trigger trigger more stuff, right? You're going to get a ton of attack speed. You're going to get a ton of move speed. It sounds really fun to play with that, to play with the rage glove implicit in Deli maps, because you're just going to be so much faster. In normal maps, maybe it takes too long to ramp, but that sounds kind of fun, doesn't it? I might change that implicit later. But yeah, that's how we saw for Hemo. Now, I've gone a little bit extra because I'm doing Deli and I want more explosions, so I grabbed one of the new unique jewels, that which was taken. This is a charm with 4 mods, but it's a jewel. And so it's like allowing you to get a 4th charm, which is really, really nice. So I got 5% bleed explode and 20 life regen there. Otherwise, my other charms right now, it's the bleed explode, life per bleeding enemy hit. That's a great one. Onslaught on kill, life per bleeding enemy hit. This actually opens up my silver flask, which we'll talk about in a sec. And then culling strike, which is 10% more damage, right? I'm culling at 10% life. It's 10% more damage and life regen. All the life regen is really, really nice. The life per bleeding enemy hit is great in Deli because of how many projectiles, how many explosions, and how many hits I'm doing. And the onslaught on kill opening up my silver flask is nice in Deli too, because I can use a ruby or a topaz to take 20% less lightning or fire damage. I chose lightning because I dropped a topaz flask on the ground and I was too lazy to get a ruby. I'm not really sure which one's better. I don't know what damage all the Deli effects do. They look kind of red. They look kind of yellow. It could be either. You know, the fire thing, I don't know, dude. I probably lean maybe towards ruby, but either way, you know, reducing some elemental damage. Actually, it should be ruby. I'm changing this to ruby. I'm changing it to ruby. Because I'm doing red altars and there's Fizz's extra fire. I should change this to ruby. I'll do that on the stream. But anyway, onslaught on a charm replaces a silver flask. Bleed explosion on a charm replaces your hemophilia. We no longer need to wait until forbidden flesh jewels to do that. And poet pen with the exsanguinated transmission replaces the need to go a rare wand when doing delirium farms. Not to say that I won't go a rare wand. I will be crafting this one on stream. T1 Dom multi on an imbue base. I will be crafting that. It's a little expensive. Just to make the CF damage go through the roof. It'll be worth it then, for sure, for sure. But one last thing to talk about is what the actual setup, right? This is all Corrupting Fever. But what's the Delirium farm setup? Sorry if you've been watching this whole time and you've just been fucking sitting here wondering, you know, what the hell is the actual farm? Whoopsies. Okay, the actual farm is obviously 80% Delirium map. Now, when you don't have a lot of currency, you would do Diviner Orbs. Diviner Orbs, very good. I got a Fiend and an Apothecary from them yesterday. But all of your currency will come from stacked decks. I bought these 11 chaos each and ran them. That's very nice. So 80 Deli, Scarab when you've got the money, Diviner, or a Skittering for Scarabs, Diviner for stacked decks. You know, it just depends how much currency you've got. I'd recommend doing at least like 20 plus maps, which is 4 to 5 sets. Otherwise, it's just too annoying to be constantly selling after, you know, you map for like a little bit. Okay, but for the compasses, I always like to do magic pack size. Delirium reward bar fill faster is really cheap right now, so even if you're doing diviners, it's still very worth it. And hunted traders with beyond, with this as my passive tree. We get some strong boxes, and we're focusing on ambush a little bit. We're getting some breach stuff because I like how fast breaches are. Harbingers are really nice, although the it lags my computer. So if you don't have a very strong computer, the proximity shield Harbinger stuff, replace Harbinger with almost anything else. You can replace it with Legion. You could do Abyss, although I don't like how much slower Abyss makes my maps. It just takes a really long time. Abyss is really, really good at squeezing out more Delirium tiles from your map, but it makes them take longer on average. I'm not too big a fan of it. Then you just grab some shrine stuff, some box stuff, the breach stuff, and then the beyond and red altar stuff. You grab the keystone so that no unique bosses spawn, so you always are getting a ton of beyond monsters in your map without it ever without the beyond monster just getting absolutely cucked right at the start. And then you take this for +1 Delirium reward when you kill the map boss. So it gets you that extra tile. Very nice. And so with all the ambush and whatnot, we're focusing on a little bit of strong boxes. So, you know, we got polished ambush because it's like 6C. You know, you could pay 6 chaos for 1 extra strong box, but I'm not going to. Same with polished harbinger instead of gilded. I'm not going to pay, you know, 6, 7, 8 chaos for 1 extra harbinger. Breach, you just always do rusted. And same with Elder. Elder's really nice on a build like Corrupting Fever. With all of our dot damage, it allows the portal enough time to spawn all of the monsters while we're still clearing the whole map. And that's another thing that you have to keep in mind when you're playing Corrupting Fever. There's going to be tanky rares. Omniphobia and Cautious are going to spawn. Sometimes you kind of could just ignore them. You just bait them away while you're looting. Other times, you could just pull them, right? Just drag them. While you're killing everything else, just drag them along, and all the bleed explosions and your Corrupting Fever damage and exsanguinate and whatnot will kill them while you're doing the map. This build, think of it almost like AoE pulling is what you're doing when you're farming Delirium maps. You're AoE pulling. You're just sitting there doing tons of dot damage to everything. You're almost like a DK, right? Think of it as like a Death Knight. Doing tons of dot damage to everything around you all of the time. Constant explosions from your KB applying Corrupting Fever. Constant chains from your exsanguinate. And anything a little bit beefy, you just press your Vol Reap, and the Poet Pen triggered Reaps will take care of that as well. So you're kind of just AoE pulling, really. So, you know, AoE pull the big tanky guys into the breaches, the harbingers, and etc. And you're good to go. Otherwise, that is the farm. Let's see, was there anything else we had to... Oh, what map to do? So starting out, I had to do Jungle Valley T14 because it was the only decent map I could Horizon Orb into. But obviously now I'm able to do Crimson Temples. I'm self-sustaining them, although I did have to buy a couple more because I was only at like 30-something when I did my 20-something maps. And I wanted to do 56 maps for my next set. So I did have to buy some more, but you should be able to self-sustain with singular focus and an amount of favorite slots. Obviously, Atlas being full clear and whatnot. But yeah, I just want to do a quick little update video for the CF bros. Quick little, you know, flex of being able to do 80 Deli on day 3. I don't know, it feels kind of cool. I could have pushed it day 2, but whatever. I'm not trying to go too crazy hard, burn out, you know, right before Christmas and all that. I'm just trying to have a little fun with this league and set a good example for all the Corrupting Fever chads out there. Anyways, did I miss anything? Was I going to talk about anything else? I don't think so. If I missed something, comment down below. I think I covered it. I'll hover all my gear. I saw Pox do this once. It was really cute. I'll hover all my gear in the video just so you can see. The 6 fizz taken should be chaos, by the way, once you go for a foul. But yeah, still doing... Oh, how do we get bleed, by the way? Just one last thing. People keep asking me how we get bleed once we replace hemophilia. Well, you get bleed from vulnerability, and I like to take this one little node here for an extra 15% in case I'm running a hex-proof map. That 15% ensures I at least have some amount of bleed explosions, you know, rather than literally 0 on hex-proof maps by only relying on vuln. Anyway, here's the glove, here's the belt. A lot of this gear is kind of like meh. Some of it's kind of good. I have shock avoid here. Without Storm Shroud, I'm just using it to be shock immune. These boots make me shock immune. You just roll it with the essence and then get the implicits. You know, shrieking essence, and then just the generic lowest currency for your implicits. Here are my flasks, and here are all the gems. I'll hover all of these for all you little sweeties. Anyways, thank you for watching. Catch me on my live stream. Today, I'll be farming 80% skittering delirium orbs. I have invested into these maps 74 divines. We're going to see how much I make. Tune in to see if I make 74 divines. Who knows? Maybe skittering won't make any currency at all. Imagine. Anyways, I'll see you guys there. Subscribe. Bye. Thank you.